Hey everyone. Tonight, I'm sharing a real spine-chilling story from Reddit. If you love horror, hit subscribe for more terrifying tales. Now, let's dive in. Don't watch this alone. The building was abandoned. No one had set foot inside in years. That was the agreement. That was the warning. But I had a job to do. I stepped into the lobby, my footsteps echoing against the cracked marble floor. The air was thick with dust, undisturbed except for the trail I left behind. The only light came from my flashlight, cutting through the gloom in thin, weak beams. I'd been hired to survey the structure, an old corporate tower, once bustling with life, now a hollow skeleton of concrete and steel. They wanted to renovate it, make something new out of something forgotten. But I wasn't here to dream. I was here to check the bones, see if they would hold. The elevator was still operational. That was the first thing that felt wrong. The power in the building was supposed to be off. My instructions were clear. Take the stairs, document structural weaknesses, and leave. But the elevator stood there, doors open, waiting. Against my better judgment, I stepped inside. The panel flickered as I pressed the button for the top floor. The doors groaned shut, sealing me inside. The ascent was smooth at first. Then, without warning, the elevator lurched to a stop. My stomach twisted. The doors slid open. A floor halfway through demolition stretched out before me. Walls stripped to their frames, windows covered with dust so thick they barely let in any light. And then I saw them. Footprints in the dust leading inside. They weren't mine. I hadn't been here yet. No one had. The building was sealed. My breath caught in my throat. I leaned forward, scanning the dim corridor. Nothing moved. No sound except the distant creak of settling metal. I reached for the panel, ready to close the doors and continue upward. But before I could press the button, a sound echoed from the hall. A single, deliberate footstep. I froze. The elevator doors stayed open, waiting. My fingers hovered over the panel, but I hesitated. Then another footstep. Closer this time. I couldn't move. My body refused. Something was coming. Something just out of sight. And then the doors closed on their own, sealing me in, swallowing the sound of footsteps with them. The elevator jolted and continued upward. I should have left right then. I should have forced the doors open and run. But I didn't. Instead, I stood there, heart pounding, watching the panel flicker as the numbers climbed. The elevator stopped again. The doors slid open. Another floor. Another set of footprints leading inside. And then I heard breathing. I gripped my phone tighter, staring at the elevator doors as they slid open again. Another floor. Another empty hallway. Another set of footprints appearing in the dust, leading inside. My breath came in short, uneven bursts. I wasn't imagining this. I was alone in the building. I had been sure of it. Yet, someone, was stepping inside with me. But I never heard a sound. The elevator dinged softly as the doors shut again, sealing me inside with whatever was leaving those prints. My stomach twisted, but I forced myself to stay calm. I jabbed the button for the lobby, willing this ride to be over. The lights flickered. The elevator trembled, a deep groan echoing through the walls, as if the entire shaft had exhaled. The panel above flickered, skipping past numbers erratically. We were moving, but not where I wanted to go. I pressed the emergency stop button. Nothing happened. My hands were shaking now. The air inside the elevator felt denser, pressing in on me like a living thing. The doors opened again, this time to a floor that shouldn't exist. Beyond the threshold, The walls stretched into darkness. No office spaces, no lights, just a long, yawning hallway lined with doorways. The footprints in the dust led forward, vanishing into the gloom. A whisper slithered through the stale air. It wasn't a voice. Not really. It was like the memory of one. A sound so faint I could barely tell if it was inside or outside my head. I should have stayed inside. I should have kept pressing buttons until something worked. But my feet were already moving, stepping out onto the forbidden floor, following the footprints like I was meant to. The moment I crossed the threshold, the elevator doors shut behind me. I was trapped. I slammed my hand against the elevator panel, pressing the door close button over and over. But the doors remained open. The footprints in the dust looked fresh, as if someone had just stepped inside. Yet the space beside me was empty. I felt a chill slither up my spine. My breathing was heavy, loud in the silent building. I dared to glance at the buttons. The number 6 was illuminated. The elevator had chosen a floor. A slow creak echoed through the shaft, and the doors finally began to close. Relief washed over me, but it was short-lived. The lights flickered, and the entire car jolted, as if something heavy had just landed on the roof. I froze. A faint scraping noise came from above. It was rhythmic, deliberate. Something was moving up there. "Hello?" My voice cracked. I felt ridiculous immediately. What was I expecting? A response? The elevator started its ascent, rising past the second and third floors. The scraping stopped. The silence felt worse. I pressed my back against the wall, staring at the ceiling panel. If something burst through, I had nowhere to go. A ding. The elevator stopped on the 6th floor. The doors slid open. The hallway was dark except for the faint emergency lighting. The dust on the floor was thick, undisturbed, except for a set of footprints leading away from the elevator. They stopped a few feet ahead. Then there was nothing, as if whoever had made them had simply vanished. I should have stayed inside, pressed the button, gone straight back to the lobby. But I didn't. Something compelled me to step forward. I leaned out, scanning the hall. The air was thick, stale, but beneath it, there was something else. A faint metallic tang. Blood? Rust? I couldn't tell. A noise echoed from further down the corridor, a soft shuffle like fabric brushing against the walls. I took another step, and then a whisper. Close, too close. "You shouldn't have come back." I spun, heart slamming against my ribs. The hallway was empty, but the elevator doors were closing. I lunged, but they sealed shut before I could reach them. The button panel next to the door flickered. Then, with a sharp beep, every floor button lit up at once. The elevator was going somewhere, with or without me. Then, from the darkness behind me, the footsteps started again, closer this time. I turned slowly, and I wasn't alone anymore. The emergency lights flickered, casting long shadows against the walls. My breath felt too loud in the stillness. Whoever, or whatever, was behind me wasn't moving now, but I could feel it watching. I clenched my fists and turned fully around. The hallway was empty, but I knew better than to believe that. The footprints were still there, leading to nothing. Or maybe to something I couldn't see. My chest tightened. I needed to get back to the elevator, but when I turned, the panel next to the doors blinked red. Power disabled. I swallowed hard. No way down. No way up. Just the 6th floor and whatever had been waiting here. A door creaked open down the hallway. I whipped around, my pulse hammering. The noise came from the last door on the right, its frame barely visible in the dim light. I took a step forward, then stopped. I wasn't stupid. Horror movies taught me not to go toward the ominous door, but standing here wasn't an option either. Another step, then another. The air grew colder with each inch closer, like I was stepping into a freezer. My fingers trembled as I reached out. The door swung inward before I could touch it. Inside, there was nothing but darkness, a void. I hesitated, then leaned forward slightly. My eyes adjusted enough to see the outline of a room, but something about it felt wrong. The dimensions weren't right. The walls seemed to stretch on endlessly. Then, from inside the room, a voice. Familiar. Too familiar. Help me. My throat tightened. It was my voice. I stumbled back, but the darkness moved, shifted. Something rushed toward me. A figure. No, a shadow. Lunged from the void. I turned and ran. The hallway twisted, stretched. No matter how fast I moved, I wasn't getting anywhere. The elevator was gone. The emergency lights flickered harder, and the whispering returned, dozens of voices overlapping. You shouldn't have come back. The shadows reached for me, pulling at my arms, my legs, dragging me back toward the open door. My fingers scraped against the floor as I tried to fight, but the darkness swallowed me whole. Then, everything went silent, and I fell. Thank you so much for staying with me till the end. If you enjoyed this story, and it sent shivers down your spine, please give this video a like. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me bring more stories like this to you. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on the next chilling tale. Your subscription inspires me to create better and scarier content just for you. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and don't forget to watch your back. See you soon.